The first week of proceedings for the year 2026 is done and dusted. Hello and welcome to this edition of Inside the Courtroom, the Senzo Meyiwa Murder trial wrap. I'm Mnisi. Now, the trial resumed on Monday for the first time this year. 2026 marks the third year since the trial started under Judge Ratha Mokgoatlheng and 12 years since soccer star Senzo Meyiwa was killed. Proceedings kicked off with the return of Sfiso Zungu, who is known by his clan name Gwabini. Now, he is the alleged host of the gathering where Meyiwa's murder was allegedly planned. Gwabini is central in the allegations of what allegedly took place at the hostel on the day that soccer star Senzo Meyiwa was killed. His uncle, a police constable, Sfiso Zungu, testified that he had been invited by Gwabini to the hostel, where he ultimately got to see and interact with the accused. But Gwabini denied Zungu's claims, labeling them a lie. He testified that Zungu only came to visit him in 2017. According to the state, Gwabini was what is called a Section 204 witness. This is an accomplice who will testify for the state in exchange for indemnity, but on condition that he tells the truth. The state said Gwabini deposed this statement before the lead investigator, Brigadier Bongani Gininda, and his colleague, Sergeant Batu Mohola. This is another claim disputed by Gwabini, who detailed how he was allegedly severely assaulted in the lead-up to meeting Gininda and Mohola.
What was the purpose of you being taken to Brigadier Gininda and Sergeant Mohola?
I don't know, but upon arrival there, I was told that I was going to make a statement. I then inquired as to how was I going to make this statement. They then told me that Muzi had already spoken about you or said things about you. I then said, take whatever it is that was said by Muzi about me and transfer it to this side. I will just sign.
The state continued to test his version by looking at whether he had been warned of his rights before deposing a statement that would contain details that may incriminate him.
Did Brigadier Gininda explain to you that as an arrested person you have rights?
No, he never told me.
But in your evidence in chief, you did testify that he explained to you that as an arrested person you have rights.
Who said?
You testified in your evidence in chief that they explained to you, Brigadier Gininda explained to you that as an arrested person you have rights.
No, he never told me.
And you further testify that he gave you a document which you say you did not read.
I never read the document.
What sort of document was it?
A white paper, just a single page.
Was there information that was written on that document?
I did not even take note of it. I just folded it and placed it over there.
So are you now disputing your own evidence that Brigadier Gininda explained to you that as an arrested person you have rights?
He never informed me that I had rights. He just gave me a single document.
Did they explain your constitutional rights to you?
They never read to me.
According to Gwabini, he did not know what the alleged lookout man, Muzi Sibia, had said about him, which he requested Gininda to transfer into a statement.
Now, how did you know what Muzi said about you?
I still want to know up to, even today as to what it is that Muzi said about me, because I never got to know.
But then why did you say they must transfer what Muzi said to a document?
They were saying that, that a lot was said by Muzi about me. I then said, take that and bring it over to the site.
Which site?
Where they were saying that they were going to write my statement down.
But how can you then ask them to transfer something that you did not know about into, as you put it, the statement that they said they were going to write down?
I wanted to move away from where I was. I had been assaulted there.
And on the subject of assault, did Brigadier Gininda and Sergeant Mohola assault you in any way?
I did answer to this, that the first time I saw Gininda was in Primrose, and he was not there when I was assaulted.
No, that is not the question. The question is, did Brigadier Gininda and Sergeant Mokgola assault you in any way? There in the private, in the room.
No, they never assaulted me.
Did they threaten you in any way?
They never threatened me.
According to Gwabini, he signed the document by placing an S.
How did you sign that document?
I put an S at the bottom.
Did you only put an S on one page? You say the document consisted of several pages. Did you just put an S on one page or on all of the pages?
On all of them.
The state is going to show you a document which purports to be in your name. Do you recognize that document? It's in the name of Sifiso Zungu.
Yes, I am Sifiso Zungu.
There's an ID number or date of birth 1991/9/09. Do you know that?
Yeah. Yes.
What does it signify? Whose birth date is that?
It's me, that's my year of birth.
If you look at page 1, there's an initial on the right hand side, B N.
I don't know who that is.
BN, and next to it there is a signature on the left hand side. Do you know whose signature that is?
Mine is an S, I don't know this one.
The signature was further probed.
Then on page 2, there's also an initialing on the right hand side, BN, and just next to it on the left hand side there is a signature. Whose signature is that one on the left hand side of the initials BN?
No, I don't know.
Just look at that signature. Is there an S?
That's an S there at the beginning.
Also on the first page, is there an S?
Yes, there is.
And your first name is Sifiso?
Yes.
And you say you did put an S on the document?
Yes.
Then on page 4, you were asking as to what the rest of the signature is. Is it not Zungu? But
before the Zungu.
You do acknowledge that there is a Zungu at the end.
I don't know whether it's me who can't see clearly, because after the S, there is something. Is it an SP? Then before the Zungu, there is something after the S. Is that a P?
Yes, but are you saying that there is an S and there's also a Zungu on the signature?
I only placed an S. Yes, I see the Zungu that you are referring to, but I only placed an S there. And then there's a P there, whether it's a P or an F.
The statement taken on the 24th of June in the name of Sifiso Zungu, in terms of Section 204 of the Criminal Procedure Act, acknowledges the implications of giving information that may incriminate the deponent. It also confirms that the said deponent had been warned of their rights, among other confirmatory details. The statement further reads:
In the last weekend of October 2014, around 1500 hours, I was driving my bicycle back to block N1/N Basutuni Hostel when I found Muzi Sibia standing together with Mafika Ntanzi. Ntanzi works in the mines in Rustenburg, insofar as I know. They were standing on the main entrance, busy talking. I greeted them. Shortly, a silver VW Polo arrived, which was driven by Nkani. Nkani's real name, Fisokuhle Ntuli. I believe the said VW Polo is a hired car because I saw a red and white color tag on the key holder of the keys that Nkani was holding. I believe the key was written something, Avis. Nkani was the driver of this vehicle. Sifiso Ntuli joined both Mafika Ntanzi and Muzi Sibia. The three moved straight from the main door after talking softly to each other to the room/bedroom section of Nkani's room. They closed the door behind them. Nkani is also using the names of Sifiso Ntuli, so they are one and the same person. It was clear to me that the three had something important and private to discuss.
The statement further reads,
I left to deliver some bottles, cases, container to the customers and returned not long after that, as I was expecting visitors. Next paragraph. When I arrived back in my hostel block, I noticed that the silver Polo was gone. All three were nowhere to be seen inside the block. I met my visitors, who are Makosonke Zungu from Limpopo and Zoe Zungu, who is a police officer. We sat and chatted until it was darker. While we were talking, I heard the VW Polo returning and saw Sifiso Ntuli, Muzi Sibia, and Mafika Ntanzi walking in. Muzi took one of the drink that had a sip on it and said, "Do we know that Senzo Meyiwa is dead?" We were shocked to hear this. But we thought maybe he does not mean it. The time of their return could have been between 2000 hours and 2100 hours.
The statement further details how a few weeks later, the deponent was approached by women who claimed to have been injured by Sibia after they had threatened to expose him for his alleged involvement in the murder of Meyiwa. Gwabini denies any knowledge of the statement, maintaining that this information did not come from him. Asked whether the name Zwe was short for Sizwe, Gwabini responded by saying he knew his uncle's name to be Sizwe, but maintains he does not know how the name Zwe found itself in the statement. The state moved to compare what was in the statement with the alleged confession and pointings out of Mnisi Sibiya. These are documents where Sibiya allegedly implicates himself in the murder of Senzo Meyiwa as a lookout man.
In that year, during the week, it was on Wednesday, I was at my place at hostel in Foslores at Basotho section, and I received a call from my friends Marco Buthelezi and Makimba Buthelezi. Both were staying at Foslores hostel but Zulu section. The person who was calling me was Marco, but I heard on the background that he was with Makimba. I told them that I am present, and he said he's coming with Makimba. Is there anything in this paragraph that refers to you?
No, there's nothing.
Few minutes, they arrived by a Polo, white in color, and it was driven by Makimba, but the owner of the Polo is Marco. Both they are from Kwanongoma in KwaZulu-Natal. I just entered the car and sat at the back seat. Marco said to me, there is a job we need to do. I asked them what job, and Marco said they were hired by Kelly to kill Senzo, and I asked the suspect which Kelly and which Senzo. The suspect said Kelly Kumalo and Senzo Meyiwa. These are the people we are talking about. Is there anything in this paragraph that refers to you?
No, there's nothing.
I asked them if they already charged the money, and they said yes, they charged 100,000 rand. Both Marco and Makimba charged for the killing. Marco was the one who was having dreadlocks, and Makimba was wearing the cap, in brackets red in color, and I was wearing the white cap. Those caps we were wearing on Saturday, and the one with dreadlocks was wearing the wool hat. Is there anything in this paragraph that refers to you?
No, there's nothing.
While Gwabini confirms that Sibiya's statement does not mention him, he insists the statement was not read back to him.
Mr. Zungu, do you agree that in both these statements that were made by accused number one, there's nowhere where he refers to your name?
I hear what is being said there, but I am saying that which was said by someone who came to take a statement from me as to what that person said.
Now, you're referring to Brigadier Gininda?
Yes.
Now, why would Brigadier Gininda say something that is not contained in any of the two statements made by accused number one?
I don't know, because after writing the statement, he never read it back to me.
The state also turned to a statement by one Simpiwe Buthelezi.
Do you know a gentleman by the name of Simpiwe Buthelezi?
From where is Simpiwe Buthelezi?
From KwaZulu-Natal.
No, I don't know him.
Now, his affidavit has been read into the record by the Defense Counsel. I think it was the late Mr. Mngomezulu, on behalf of accused number one. He says the following about you. Says there was a time in 2014 where I used to hang out with the homies from Kwanongoma, and the names of those people, my lord: Carlos, Mapisa, Nkani, and Muzi, in a room where Gwabeni resides. Gwabeni is also from Kwanongoma. It was during the cross-examination of Brigadier Gininda, and he was asked to read this affidavit in the record. Do you have any comment?
No, because I don't even know this Simpiwe person, and I've never even hung around with him.
The state explained the crux of the question.
The gravamen of the question that we put to Mr. Gwabeni was that his room was used as a gathering point, or the names that I mentioned
For the
here,
encounter
they
group.
used to gather in his room.
That's it.
That is actually the crux of the question.
And it is a pure statement according to you?
Yes, yes.
Right.
That is the essence of the...
Yeah, okay, fine.
Do you have a comment?
There's a lot that I can say because Carlos that is being mentioned, I don't know. It has never happened that I hang around with them in my room. And I am also not from KwaNongoma, I am from Emahlabathini.
Emahlabathini falls under the greater Nongoma area.
Mahlabati is a different place, Nongoma is a different place.
This also links to, among others, the evidence of Constable Zungu, who is the uncle of Gwabini. He testified that the accused returned to Gwabini's room at the hostel and handed him firearms in the evening of the day that Meyiwa had been killed. The state believes that this was after the soccer star had been killed, allegations that both the accused and Gwabini label as false. They maintained that they were with Zungu in 2017 and not 2014. The state wrapped up its cross-examination, paving the way for re-examination by the defense on points arising from cross-examination. Gwabini still maintained that he had no knowledge of the details contained in the statement.
There's a document that you signed with S.
Yeah.
And there is this
Yes.
document that which is exhibit 4Z5, that you say what appears there as a signature is not your signature. Do you understand?
Yes.
So we've got two set of documents that we are having here. Now, when you had an interview, it is on record. When you had an interview with the state at the DPP's office, was that document wherein you signed with an S ever showed to you?
No, it was never shown to me. They just read out to me. I then said to Advocate Baloyi that I know nothing about what you are reading out to me.
Do you know from what document were they reading from?
No, I don't know.
The information that you said you were not agreeing with, that was read from those documents that you did not know, did it accord with what was within your own personal knowledge?
I'm sorry to interrupt. We have really tried to, not to interfere, but the question that is being asked now, it doesn't arise from cross-examination, my lord. Also, the question relating to consultation, there was no cross-examination on any consultation. We submit, my lord, that these questions do not arise out of cross-examination.
As it pleases the court, my lord, the question that I'm asking has got to do with the document that this witness says he signs, which is document wherein he signs with that signature S, and that came from cross-examination, my lord.
The state had also taken Gwabini through a notice of rights, which they say was signed during his arrest.
Meyiwa, thank you so much for your time. I want us to start by taking a look at the requirements for a Section 204, right? Here in this case, we have the state saying this was a Section 204 witness, but the witness himself says, I know nothing about all of those things. Talk to us about the requirements.
Okay, the requirement simply is that the accused must be an accomplice. He must have been arrested for the same offense. And then there must be a deal that if he's going to testify against the co-accused and be a state witness, he will be protected from prosecution. I think the clear example, Mr. Mnisi, is the case of Jocelyn Smith, where the other lady who was the fourth accused, if I'm not mistaken, she became a state witness, and she was a key witness in that case, and she was not prosecuted further, and then the other three accused were prosecuted. So ideally, in this case, Gwabini should have been an accomplice, and then he would have been arrested for maybe being part of the conspiracy to murder or Senzo Meyiwa. And then once he has made a deal, signed it, and happy with it, then he would have been protected from prosecution, and then he would have given a testimony. But the funny thing, or the strange thing rather, is that he denies that he made a statement. And maybe to a certain extent, I still want to figure out on what basis did they initiate the Section 204 situation or statement, when I want to see how he's involved in the case. Because if he was Section 204 and then he refused to testify, or maybe denied the statement, then he should have been arrested as an accused because he does not want to assist the state.
And I mean, you highlight one of the things that the defense highlighted, the issue of the arrest. Is an arrest a prerequisite? Looking at the fact that different cases obviously have their own ways in which they're investigated, but also the circumstances around the arrest themselves. We hear that he was arrested for another case or another offense, but not necessarily in the Meyiwa case. So you're saying he would have had to be arrested in the Meyiwa case? And is that a prerequisite? Or can it be that after being arrested on a separate charge, you can, if the police believe that you were involved in a particular case, can you then say, before you even effect the arrest, I can and I'm willing to be a Section 204?
Yes, it's all about making deals to avoid prosecution. So you don't have to be necessarily arrested for that particular case where you can be a Section 204. Maybe you can be arrested for another case, another offense. Then maybe you can tell the police officer or the investigating officer that, look, I do have information on this case. If you release me on this case, which might be a stronger case, maybe the other case, I can be a Section 204 witness, something to that extent. But I think more than anything, what is important is what evidence do they have against him to make him an accomplice in the first place, so that he can be a Section 204 witness. But at the end of the day, I think the issue would be this statement that he denies. The police officers will come and prove that they did not assault him and he signed voluntarily and he understood. So there's going to be a debate. And I think the crucial issue now is not about him being a Section 204, it's about the statement being admitted as evidence. And that is the issue that is at hand, whether he was a Section 204 or not. But the crux of it is what is contained in the statement and how does it hurt the accused in the matter.
And, the issue of credibility seems to have been another one that, we saw during the state's cross-examination, testing the version of, his version of events and how that statement was taken. And among some of the things that the state tested him on is the fact that there are what they say are information or is information that only would fall within his personal knowledge, and juxtaposing his statement or comparing his statement to that of Moses Sibia and him confirming that my name is not mentioned. But also you have personal information or personal details in that particular statement. Would that be a blow for him, given that he says he knows or had nothing to do with the taking down of that statement and that he did not know anything that was contained there?
I think there are two things that are an issue for Mr. Kwabini, Linda. The first one is the fact that, as you are saying, the facts that are in the statement, they seem to be statements that could be facts that only him could know to a certain extent. But also, maybe in his defense, there might be someone like Sizwe Zoom, Kosovo Sizwe Zoom, who might have had information that he might have given to the police, and maybe they made a statement. But I think the most important thing is that the thing that is an issue for me with COVID is that, yes, he says he was assaulted, but with the issue in this case is you have to prove that you were assaulted. And if he can't prove that, it's unfortunate for him. We may believe he was assaulted, but unfortunately, he has to bring proof. That is why when the judge said he's going to bring those police officers, if he's interested, to assist him. That's going to hurt him if it's not proven. Like the same thing that happened with the two confessions of Ms. Sbiya and Mr. Danzi, where they've been used as evidence, despite the fact that they say they did not make it, but they could not prove that they were assaulted. So I think the fact that the facts seem to be facts that might have been only been known by Ukwabini, and secondly, the fact that he can't prove he was assaulted might be an issue. And the statement will then be, if that is the position, they'll be used as evidence and be allowed to be admitted as evidence. And that's going to be a nail in the coffin for the accused.
And would you say, in relation to Gwabini, what may or may not be what brings him into the case as an accomplice is the issue around common purpose? Because, during the proceedings, I was in fact reminded of the statements that were made by the judge during the Section 174 around common purpose, highlighting how you don't have to be in the scene of crime. You could have been involved in the prior planning, you could have been involved after the fact, so you don't necessarily have to have participated in the actual commission of the crime or being at the scene of crime. When we look at that statement, would it then be taking that direction, perhaps of common purpose? Because the statement does not necessarily say, I was at the Kumalo home and therefore this is what I know. It speaks to the events that happened or that allegedly happened at the hostel.
Yeah, but I think what is important is the fact that if it's believed that he might have been involved, the question is, when he refused to be a Section 204, as he said that when he was asked about the statement by the prosecutor, he said he doesn't know anything. Why did they not arrest him then as a sixth accused? Because they'll be saying he's an accomplice. I think that is what boggles my mind. But the state has the right to decide whether to prosecute or not prosecute, as they say in Latin, they are dominus litis.
And I mean, knowing the facts in this case that, he became Section 204, but the state did not call him. They are the ones that did not choose to use him. I then wonder what the consequences are of, if any, of him getting to the stand and saying, I never participated, I was never a Section 204 witness, I never participated in giving information that would make me a Section 204. Because if he was a 204, there would obviously be an indemnity, but on condition that he tells the truth. Now, if you distance yourself from the process of Section 204, it would also seem you're distancing yourself from the protection that comes with a 204.
Yes, this is why I'm saying it's what I want to understand from the state, because it's clear that during the preparation of the trial, he was supposed to be called as a state witness. And then when he was not called, the reason is, I believe there was a situation where Advocate Baloy asked him about this case, and he said, I did tell you that I don't know anything about the statement. So at that stage, I wonder why the state did not say, okay, the protection that we're going to give you, we're no longer going to protect you, no longer indemnified. We are now adding you as a sixth accused. If they are saying you was a Section 204, that's what I was expecting. But at the end of the day, they have a right to decide, Linda, whether they will call an accused, a witness in this case, or a Section 204. And if they feel there's nothing to prosecute him on, they might not prosecute him on, and then they'll proceed with the 5 accused. Because we've seen in this case, again, Linda, where there are certain individuals that they say they could be co-conspirators or other accused, like Kelly Kumar in this case, but she's not arrested yet. Maybe after this case is finalized, they will decide what to do, and they might charge again. So I don't want to say they will never charge Kwabini, but for now they haven't charged him.
And what are the consequences really for the defense case, if any, when you look at if this statement is found to be in corroboration with, for example, what Constable Sizwe Zungu, if it is admitted and it is found that he did indeed depose the statement, and also when you look at the evidence of Constable Sizwe Zungu, but also at the same time, what are the consequences if it is found that Gwabini did not make the statement in terms of Section 204? What is the blow? What do both parties stand to lose? It would seem that
Yes.
Gwabini is much of a critical witness that Constable Sizwe Zungu is. So the stakes seem to be high here.
I think for the defense, if the statement is allowed or admitted as evidence, it will be an issue for them because it will corroborate for the state. For instance, it will show that there was a conspiracy, and it was also corroborate with Sizwe Zungu's statement, Constable Sizwe Zungu. So that will be an issue for them. Remember as well, I think you and I have discussed the confessions, how problematic they are. It's just going to add. So it's going to show that there's a sequence in this case where there are statements made, they are denied, and then they are admitted. And it puts a dent on the defense case. However, if it's not allowed or not admitted as evidence for the state, I think it will just show that, the way that the state has been investigating the case is not, properly made and laid out proper. For example, we've discussed the issue of having two dockets and all other issues. So it will be a dent on them as well. But I don't think it will be a huge dent for the state that much, especially for accused 1 and 2, when you look at the fact that there's a confession statement there waiting for them to be decided on. Not to say they've been found guilty, but it will be looked at holistically, but it is a problem that cannot be ignored.
Thank you very much for your time, Melissa Kulu. Really appreciate it.
That was our legal analyst unpacking the legal provisions of Section 204 and helping us make sense of Gwabini's testimony. Gwabini wrapped up his testimony on Thursday, and the parties came back on Friday to update the court on preparations for the new witness. Now, the court also indicated that it would still like to hear from the witnesses that were allegedly involved in Gwabini's assault. That's where we leave it at. Catch us again next week for another roundup of the Meyiwa trial. Until then, have a good one.